What's up, gang? And we back in this.
Then y'all, welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back, y'all. So we got worst job in America. By the way, I complained to her. She'll think I had a worst job. But before we get to the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the game. If you know, without further ado,
let's get to it.
Get right into it.
You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, that's because I work the worst job in America called Mental Health Therapy Aide, or MHATAs for short. MHATAs work in psych wards and are basically babysitters for adults, feeding them, monitoring them, getting viciously attacked by
I can't do that.
A low pay of $35,000 a year. That's right, for an unlivable wage, you too can deal with the stress of, will I get assaulted today? When I started the job, I had no idea what I was getting into. All they asked in the interview process was, are you okay with mandated overtime? In which they might as well have asked, how poor are you? Because who's okay with being
so that means you have to
work?
do it.
Hey, did you think you're about to go home? No, we're gonna need to watch Bill.
My job don't even offer
He's off his
overtime.
meds and loves to bite. My first day on the job taught me what anxiety really is. It started by being dumped on the sex offenders unit and told to take roll call. Imagine all of a sudden being surrounded by 30 psychotic predators and having to talk to every single one of them. Not only that, but as I'm asking for people's names, all I'm doing is making enemies. Because 90% of psych patients are lazy, drugged-up idiots who spend most of the day sleeping. And my white ass is just tapping them on the shoulder like, hey, what's your name? Go fuck yourself.
Right.
I see yourself here. Is it Jerry? Is that your name? Jerry. But that fear eventually subsides, lowering you into a false sense of security. Now you're much easier to attack. You'll remember to be anxious next time a food tray's thrown in your face. It's what you get for opening up their package of bread, sprinkling in rat poison, and putting the wrapper back on, thinking I wouldn't notice. So what's the training like to handle an aggressive patient? Oh, I'm glad you asked. You see, I'm not allowed to hit, tackle, or even bear hug.
You can't do nothing.
No, it's too cruel. All I'm allowed to do is redirect. So if a patient is coming at me with a hammer, all I can do is redirect them away. It sounds ridiculous, and it is. You think pressing a juke button is going to make a person forget what they were doing? Where did this hammer come from? And in what part of this do you get the weapon away from the patient? Is Billy now on construction duty? On nails good. You see, what happened was, a few years back, people used to beat the heck out of patients. So they changed the laws in order to protect them. Problem is, they overcorrected. Now patients have too many rights. For example, let's say a patient punches you in the face and breaks your jaw.
Ooh.
You know what happens to them?
Nothing.
No jail, no prison, no hooking up the nips to car batteries. Nothing. And you can go ahead and press charges, but like Drake being told no, it's not going to change anything. Because in order to convict, you need evidence. And psych wards refuse to provide any in fear of violating HIPAA. You think your pinata face would be enough proof, but sadly, it isn't. I learned this the hard way when a patient named Tommy chomped down on my arm. And you might be thinking, oh, well, maybe he was psychotic at the time. No! He knew exactly what he was doing. See, Tommy is basically an internet troll. All day, every day, he's been trying to instigate people. He'll harass, stalk, and pet staff members, all with the biggest smile on his face. Anyway, one day, Tommy starts bothering another patient named Rick, and Rick is not the person you want to with. Rick has a long history of violence and has been arrested 37 times. 37!
Rick would be under the jail.
Look, you had your chance. Not only that, but
No, they
Rick's
sent him
this
to a psych ward.
He's assaulted police, COs, nurses.
He gotta be under
insanity.
Anyway, I keep separating Tommy and Rick, but Tommy just keeps coming back. Eventually, I get fed up, and I was like, look, Tommy, I'm not going to tell you again. Either go to your room, or I'm going to call the doctor to give you an injection. Tommy responds appropriately by spitting in my face. And this is where I have to. You see, instead of manhandling Tommy like I wanted to, I decided to play by the rules and redirect him to the medication room. Problem was, once we got there, Tommy was free to drag me to the ground. And now it's a UFC match. Instinctively, I go for an armbar, but Tommy counters with a chomp to the floor. Immediately, I hit him in the throat. He lets go, but not before taking a nice little chunk out of me. Eventually, I go to the hospital, where a thick nurse asks, what happens? Well, your patient decided to have a little nibble. Maybe you should have fed him more. Or maybe I'm just a tasty treat. That's when I get
That's hard. That's hard.
Tommy is HIV positive. Positive! Yeah, not only do I get stitches, but I also get that fear rattling around in my brain noodle. Oh, but at least I get a few days off from work. Sure, but it's my own time. That's right, when you get injured, the hospital doesn't give you days off. So
I'm suing.
You can't. You signed a contract.
What? But
to work in the psych ward, you know these people are crazy.
But
you picked this job.
But he bite me and give me AIDS. I can't sue.
No, you picked this job.
Time. Some people vacate in Hawaii while I sit home worrying about dying. So I returned to work a week later and talked to Tommy's parole officer, who piled on more bad news, saying that even with an injury requiring stitches, there was nothing he could do. So what do you think Tommy did once he found out there were no consequences? Did he guess to level up his troll game? Yep. Turns out giving an a-hole a get-out-of-jail-free card is like giving Drake a preteen, saying, I hope you don't abuse this. And this is just one of many times I was injured at the psych center, not including all the psychological trauma. There was a stretch between February and November where I was legitimately worried about my life, mostly due to a patient named Tyrone. Tyrone has the three most dangerous qualities of any human. He's dumb as rocks, paranoid, and freakishly strong. He barely even worked out either. Just built like a gorilla. And it's not even a race thing. If anything, I was the slave in our relationship. Fetch me some water, boy. Yes, sir. But even with walking on eggshells, Tyrone would still get furious with me. Mostly because, like I mentioned earlier, he's paranoid. If you just glanced at this dude wrong, he'd think you're plotting against him. But luckily, most of the staff knew how to handle Tyrone, which was just to ignore him. Engaging with someone paranoid only fuels their delusions.
Y'all can call me delusional or whatever, but nah.
However, one
Should
staff
be
member
happening.
named Jamal apparently didn't get the memo and starts arguing
That's how they catch
with
you lacking
Tyrone.
when you're
I'm
not
trying to
paranoid.
separate him when Jamal says, "Stop talking about something and do it." Now my anxiety is skyrocketing because if Tyrone starts swinging at
How would you
Jamal,
do that?
I'm the best option to get him off, and I'm not a good option. Be like a preteen trying to wrestle Drake. You're so cute. I'm
You talking about Drake?
Big and Jamal. Come on, man. It's not worth it. But he just has to run his mouth again and say, "I knew you were soft." Soft. And just like that, it's boss battle.
You turn green.
Tyrone grabs Jamal by the neck and
Damn!
tosses him across the room. Like he was playing frisbee with an infant, causing him to fly through
That
the air
is a
before landing
room.
hard on the concrete. Then Tyrone starts charging towards Jamal, and out of pure
Fuck that.
desperation, I yell,
I'm supposed to stop
"Chipotle!"
them?
Tyrone hesitates. "Chipotle, Tyrone! I'll go out right now and get you Chipotle if you leave Jamal alone." Panting, Tyrone goes,
Okay, because Chipotle is my
I'm like, "Yep, I'll
life.
get you a burrito right now, but you gotta chill, okay? Go to your room and I'll bring it to you."
I ain't
At
got
this point, I
burrito
can see
in it.
tears
I like
turning in
eating
his head.
bowls.
So with my heart pounding, I looked right
I
at
might get a
Tyrone and
burrito next
said,
time.
"Chicken burrito." Tyrone looks at
I
me,
want steak
nods,
burrito.
then heads back to his room.
I'll
Staff
take a
quickly
steak.
rush over to help out Jamal, who is clearly fucked up. There's no blood, but he's making this wheezing sound of... Turns out he suffered a sprained forearm, dislocated wrist, and
Damn.
fractured hip. Yeah, all from one frisbee toss. Needless to say, he never came back to work, which was probably for the best,
See?
considering he had a habit of instigating the zoo animals. So whatever happened to Tyrone, well, I got good news. He was arrested, charged, and later sentenced to 5 years in prison. I'm kidding. There were no consequences.
Right.
If anything, Tyrone's bad behavior was rewarded with Chipotle.
With a
That's
fucking
the psych
burrito.
wards
Mhm,
aren't
chicken
fair. There's
burrito.
nothing fair about getting anxiety, being nibbled on, or thrown across the room when you're just trying to pick up a paycheck. So anybody out there thinking about working in a psych center,
Nah.
don't. But if you're poor and have no other option, then just remember, if you can't appeal to someone's mind, then try appealing to their stomach.
Cold.
How did you get HIV? The same way as everybody else. A hungry man. Think of psych wards like the Middle East, where the patients are the man and you're the woman. What's the worst job in America? As a coal miner, Uber driver, hand. I worked as a Mahad for 3
Uber.
years, and I don't want to say it was hell, because a lot of cool people in hell. Prince, DMX, Kobe. There's no one cool in the psych ward. Interesting, sure, but no one I'd take a helicopter ride with. Positive. Positive. Positive! Society looks at a drooling person and sees a problem. Well, I see a solution. We're all thinking the same question. How dumb can a person be before tapping is illegal? We gotta draw a line
Right.
somewhere. Can't you think out low fives to every grunting girl? So how dumb is too dumb? What if she
How
thinks
dumb
the
is
earth
too
is
dumb?
flat, or crystals have healing powers, or condoms feel just as good as raw dog? At what
Ooh.
point does her ignorance become a red flag instead of a green light? I asked this because there was a patient at the psych center named Stacy who was aesthetically
Ooh.
banging, but mentally a Pop-Tart. Now, I didn't have the desire to
Better
pet
pop
her
that
bum trim
Pop-Tart.
kitty, but other patients did. Staff would repeatedly catch her playing the "Who's in my mouth" game, which was
Ooh.
such a nightmare.
They grown. They not to pay, but the patients is grown. Why they can't be goosing?
Because they in a psych ward for a
But they
reason.
grown still. Just because I'm not all the way there don't mean I don't want my you know? Yeah, you
Man.
tripping.
Man.
Porking will get you in trouble, but patients assaulting will get you fired. And whatever the IQ threshold for consent is, Stacy was right on the border. Sure, she could answer basic questions, but her brain came with a built-in buffer, like trying to play Elden Ring on a Chromebook. Anyway, the good news is Stacy was eventually transferred to an all-female unit, where it was clear no one wanted to taste her seafood. I didn't hear no. Positive?
Oh shit.
You know,
But man, look, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. Got a couple last ones and catch you on the next one. Peace.